Good morning. It's Dr. Dina Churchill, innovator in health and wellness, and today is Monday, August 10th, and I'm here in my stepdad's garden, hoping that this natural healing vibration surrounding myself, maybe you'll feel it, and the message might be a little more foundational. Hopefully that vibration will come kind of to you and through you. It'll be a quick presentation today. I'm going to bring in a little bit of astrology and help us sort of look at a greater vision. I've been away from Facebook for 2 weeks. So, pain in our body is a reflection of an imbalanced perspective. So sometimes you need to push pause and take that time to reflect yourself. Our thoughts really create our destiny. So my astrology sisters who know my natal birth chart will know that our transiting Saturn planet is conjuncting my moon and in the 6th house. So that's your home and your emotions and your subconscious, and that's triggering kind of a cascade reaction through my chart that affects all my personal planets. So I had to kind of dig deep and go into my cave. I felt like a combination between Eric Erickson and Indiana Jones, going into the cave. If I survive myself, I might come out with some little gem. But anyway, thank you to those who've sent me messages and videos. I'm very grateful. Even if I haven't responded to you, just know I'm grateful, and I'm going through them one at a time. So I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Blair and Susan. So our thoughts dictate our reality. I thought that was an important point that I'm going through personally, and maybe it might be of value to you. We're being bombarded with information from both sides. I could call it a spiritual war, but that would affect my perception. So I'm going to call it a spiritual awakening, where we can look at the universe as a loving place. And in that loving place, we see that everything that happens, it happens for us, and we can look at it as an opportunity. But if we see the world as a predatory place, we're going to look at our events, and people surrounding us are doing things to us, and we can feel victimized. So our perspective really dictates our destiny and how things will unfold. So when you see the world as a loving place, you will look for your blessings. You will be grateful for things that are around you. You'll stay curious. You'll ask questions. You will ask how this is serving you and how this is serving our greater humanity. You're certain. You're confident. You're calm. And you entertain healthy conversations and debate to know more. But if you look at the world as a predatory place, as an awful place, everyone's out to get you. You're always in survival mode. Okay, we have the balance, right? A peaceful environment and the truck in the background. There's the two sides, right? So we can attend to that noise out there, or we can stay present in this environment. But in that predatory place, you can be in a fight or flight. You'll feel victimized by the circumstance. You'll have fear and anger and rage. And again, for astrology people, that would be our Mars, right? Our Mars, our actions, has 2 different paths. So, I was slipping into the latter. I was being really angry. And with a Mars and Venus and Scorpio, you can understand that that's a real chore for me. But I had to take a pause and reflection, eat some fatty steak and some gourmet mushrooms to balance my brain and get back in the game. So that's what you need to do, to meditate your way back to a higher vibration. And why do we want to do that? To choose a higher path. Because when you're choosing a higher path, you're choosing a higher destiny. You're choosing a destiny that you want instead of the destiny that you don't want. Hi, Steve. Everything happens for a reason. That's so true. So what I'd like to talk about, in some of the peaceful protests or demonstrations that I've taken part in, I've witnessed aggression from both sides, including myself. When there's people shaking things in your face and challenging your perspective, you sometimes feel like you want to get angry, but thinking love, speaking love, being love is again taking that higher road, and it demonstrates the process as a transformation instead of a battlefield. You know, calling the mask bandits names who are shaking their signs and rattles is not really a useful tool of empowerment. You know, it's like kids in a schoolyard calling each other's names. You know, you can take part in both sides, so you can be for or against, anti or not. The only way to solve that paradigm is to rise above it, and many of the greats say that. Albert Einstein and many of the great writers say in order to solve a problem you have to rise above it, not take sides, but to jump out of that paradigm. You know, it's a dance, really, with your partner. I could say opponent, you know, because in martial arts, I studied martial arts for 4 or 5 years, Kempo karate, and if somebody threw a punch towards you, right, you can block the punch, but it really, really hurts. So instead, if you can use the momentum of their challenge to take it through, you can actually engulf them into your space. And you know, an amoeba does that, right? A single-celled organism. This is how they entrap bacteria. They engulf it. Hugs, not masks, right? They engulf it, and that brings you into a different vibration. To counter it or to oppose it, it really just keeps the energy of anger and frustration going. But to rise above it and engulf it with love is really the message of today's video. You know, there's two stories always running, the glass half full or half empty, right? You can look at the world as a loving place or a predatory environment that dictates how you respond. You can see the current challenges as a challenge for spiritual awakening, or you can be victimized by it. So the choice is yours. We have an important astrological event happening right now. I mean, it started August now, and it'll go until January 2021. I'm just going to take a moment to see who's watching. Hi, Daryl. Hi, Steve. Helplessness is a problem, but one can feel that it's up to them to put out any effort, but they don't determine. Oh, I can't see the rest of your message, but thank you, Steve and Jetty. So this astrological event that's happening, Mars, which is the planet of action, it's a personal planet. It can be the god of war, or let's say the god of resolution is what I hope, but it's your personal actions, is squaring, which means it's in conflict with Jupiter, which is the greater good, better solution. It's also squaring Saturn, which is our rules and regulations, and Pluto, which is the planet of uprooting. And so the next few months are going to be fated, and we need you to be centered, and we need you to help us bring our destiny that we all want forward. Because our individual actions, as I've said, hi Patrick, hi Rachel, the individual actions, or our Mars, our personal planet, can engage and transform with love, as I've just mentioned, you know, healing transformation. That would be entertaining, healthy debate and discussion. Why are you wearing a mask? You know, or it can be warful and destructive. You idiot! Why are you wearing a mask? You know, you're ignorant. You're a, you know, you can name call. So that, again, the warful part of that destruction will only bring us all down to a lower vibration, a lower energy, where we can't solve the problem. So we have to exercise our free will to find the best Jupiter solution. Jupiter is a planet of abundance, and try not to hurt anyone in the process. You know, pull back, retreat, go into your cave, you know, meditate. But December 21st, 2020, Jupiter is conjuncting Saturn at 0 degrees Aquarius, fate degree. So let me explain for the non-astrology types what that means. Jupiter, again, is our planet of abundance. It's our planet that rules the greater good for our society. It's a society planet. And Saturn is our rules and regulations. Saturn represents the law. Saturn represents our politics. And they're conjunct, meaning they're going to be supporting each other. Right? all the rules now on how society will work will be rewritten, right, as of December 21st. And it's up to us what that will look like. So our individual voice, which is our planet Mercury, and our Mars, our actions, dictate the greater good of Jupiter. And once we determined what the greater good is for our society, then Saturn, our politicians, our law, puts things in place. If it's not for our greater good, what happens is that we jump out to the next planet, which is Uranus. And that is about revolution, because we will have a revolution if our destiny and what most people want is not being upheld by the law. But these personal planets and the social planets, so our personal planets, our Sun and Moon, Mars, Venus, and Mercury, affect, and the social planets, which I mentioned, Jupiter and Saturn, affect our generational planets of Uranus and Neptune and Pluto. So now is the time. We're in this bridge. Mars is the bridge. Your individual voice and your actions is the bridge between our current destiny and where we're going. So now it's important for you to find that voice and to speak it. So remain curious. I had a few points I just wanted to close with. Any questions? Again, thank you all for watching. But remain curious and ask questions. That puts you kind of in a loving space. A humble space, humble confidence, to, ask, why are you wearing a mask? Has it been shown to be helpful for viruses? Does it reduce your oxygen? Would be questions to ask your politicians, your businesses who might be recommending it. Has it shown to be useful? That's always a good question. Can you show me the studies that show that masks are useful? 64 people died in Nova Scotia of apparently the coronavirus. Now, we know that those statistics can be a little messed up, because if you've had a cold or a flu, or if you've had the flu shot, you can test positive for coronavirus. And likely the 50-something, 58 I think it was, at the long-term care facility in Northwood, likely had the flu shot. So them being diagnosed with the corona, yes, they would have had corona if they had the flu shot, right? So it's a little crazy. But what we need to do is ask ourselves, how many people die every year of a cold, of a crazy cold virus? Right, at Northwood. It could be 64, the same, right? And all this hype about, 64 deaths. Just imagine 64 deaths in our province. We probably have 64 suicides a year, because of the lockdown. So, but asking questions, again, remain curious, brings us into kind of a loving, humble confidence, and gives you power, gives you your power back. Are the statistics different from any other years? Again, that's what I mentioned. Now, has the vaccine, you'll be faced with this choice coming up. Has the vaccine been shown to be safe and effective? If they say yes, you say, could you show me the studies that show that this vaccine that you're about to inject into my arm and into my family actually prevents against cold? Because, the flu vaccine didn't work, right? We still get the flu. So, but you have to ask the question. And then it's almost like Socratic learning, right? If you ask the question, it behooves them then to find the information. And when the apparent authority has to go digging for the information themselves, it means more to them. I mean, they have more certainty on their position. So asking questions. And the last thing, show me the safety studies of this 5G technology. I mean, that's really important, because this is EMF radiation. And if you're trusting in someone else's opinion, that person may be, let's say, benefiting somehow from the ruling. And I know I've connected with many of the politicians, the MLAs and the members of parliament, and they're locked into a certain position, right? So the members of Legislative Assembly, for example, they can't have their own opinion. I mean, they can discuss their opinion in a caucus meeting with the party, but ultimately they have what they call a whipped vote. They have to come in line and do what the party person tells them. The same thing with chiropractic, right? Because I was speaking truths about vaccines and asking questions about vaccine dangers, my license was suspended. So if you're not in alignment with, say, the health department who are selling pharmaceuticals, then you may be whipped. But the politicians are the same. The medical doctors are the same. Because if the medical doctor doesn't offer you the vaccine, they could lose their license. They lose their livelihood. So it may not be their own personal position, because they may not get the vaccine for themselves or their family, but to hold their own personal license, they have to offer it to you. So again, you can be looking at this as I'm a victim, or you can take it as an empowerment tool to investigate, to stand in your own confidence and your power calmly. You're not name calling, creating labels or judgments, because again, that keeps us locked in the emotion. You're rising above with a healthy curiosity. Entertaining a healthy debate and conversation brings you out of that paradigm. So this is sort of what I'd suggest over the next little while. Know that we have an opportunity right now. There's a window of opportunity between now and December 21st. Again, that happens to be the winter solstice, which is really quite remarkable. We have an opportunity to rewrite our future. But it depends on our collective voice, our Mars action, in order to bring that through. And it may not be showing up at a protest, right? I emailed all my friends and all the MLAs and invited them to our, unmasked Halifax peaceful demonstration, and most didn't come. Although I do want to say a thank you to Global News and to CTV, who did show up to televise that event. So thank you, regardless of the opinion. It was media, it was attention to the issue. So thank you so much to Bruce Frisco and CTV and also Global News for showing up at that event. But you don't have to be at the mask event. In fact, what I've done in the last week in my cave and retreat is do up some little business cards. And there's a website called maskexemption.ca. And you can get a little card that tells you why you don't have to wear masks. So since this whole COVID scam has came in place, I'm not wearing a mask. I go into Sobeys, I've gone to Sobeys and Kent and Home Depot and restaurants and Starbucks, and I don't know, anywhere I've went, and I haven't worn a mask. I just say I can't wear a mask, because it severely reduces your oxygen, as I've showed in another video with the oximeter. So maskexemption.ca, you can go and print out these cards. And you can also share it, with your family, with your friends, and also with other businesses, because it's illegal for a business to refuse you for not wearing a mask. And our Medical Privacy Act protects us by saying we don't have to divulge, what our medical condition is, needing oxygen, for example. So what I did was go to Vistaprint and print them out. And what I'm going to do this week, because I haven't been to the mask events, I've been in meditation, is go to the shopping center and visit all the stores that I love. And if I have any resistance, I will educate each person as I go. And I have a picture to show the businesses of what their legalities are, because it's a crime really that the government has put our small businesses in the middle of enforcing these mask mandates, or mask recommendations, maybe we'll say. But they don't know any different, so it's up to us to educate. So even if you don't want to take a stand within a group and have your face shown that way, maybe you're emailing your MLA, maybe you're sending the information I posted last night about the 5G technology to your member of parliament. Maybe you're handing out, maybe you're posting something in your own business. Maybe you're not wearing a mask, so people, you can introduce to people that it's safe and that you're not scared. So whatever it is, just take an action. And it has to be an inspired action, not anger. Like I said, some of the protests, I've seen anger from both sides, and it's just, it doesn't get us anywhere. We have to, again, rise above into love, and that gives us our power back, our empowered vision and our energy. So I don't know if there's any questions. Hi, Edith. Oh, I miss you. Zara, Rachel again, thank you. I don't know if you have any questions or concerns, but maybe I'll just summarize by saying now is the time when our actions will really count, will really count. And they can't be of war and anger and destruction and trying to hurt someone else, or you're just going to bring yourself down into that vibration. You have to rise above that and realize this is an opportunity for you to empower yourself. And how do you do that? You don't have to be an expert on vaccines. You don't have to be an expert on mask wearing. Just ask the question to those who are challenging you. And if they don't have the information, then just gratefully decline, right? I'm sorry. So I just wear a smile and say, sorry, I can't wear a mask. Walk right past. You know, and I mentioned in another video, the police can't mandate or they can't enforce this because mask wearing, not wearing a mask and suppressing your oxygen is not a crime. Right? So don't worry about the police or the security guard. He's just doing his job. The people that are telling you to wear a mask, the lady at Starbucks who hands me a mask is just doing her job. It's your job to say, no, thank you. It's creating your boundaries. It's taking back your power. So I'd encourage you to do that. And I had a video sent to me last night by Karen. Thank you, Karen, for that. Where they're taking temperature readings, right? But they're aiming it at your pineal gland. So it's not a good idea, right? Your pineal gland is the gland that connects you to a greater spiritual awakening, your spiritual information, if you will. So having your temperature taken there is not a good idea. Decline. And you can, if they have to take your temperature, take it, under your tongue, or you can tell them to find another orifice. But really, temperature, elevating your body temperature is good. I'm here in the sun, my temperature is going to be up. If you have a seat warmer in your car and you're in a cold environment, your temperature will be up because of the seat warmer. If your body is if your amoebas are trying to trap bacteria, they'll be heating up your body to try to kick out those bugs, so your temperature will be elevated. So it's temperature can be actually a sign of wellness instead of sickness, right? Two sides to the story. So you have to find your truth. And then you have to have the confidence, right, to stand in your power and to invite a healthy debate. Why are you wearing a mask? Has it been shown to be helpful? I heard that the pores in the mask are measured in millimeters, and that viruses are nanometers. So if it doesn't protect against the virus and it reduces our oxygen, is it really a useful mandate? So those are questions you can ask yourself, again, to rise above the emotion and the dilemma, to take back your power. One other thing, speaking about taking back your power, smart meters. The upgrade in the smart meters, this was another mandated policy that puts EMF radiation into your home. And when the Wi-Fi technology comes in place, the 5G technology, it can kind of trap you in your microwave of a home. So opt out. Just call your power company or your water company and opt out of the smart meter upgrades. Go back to the analog where you have a meter man that comes out and reads your meter is healthier for you. Again, make sure you sign the petition in the post that I did last night about the 5G technology coming to Canada. Make sure your MP knows your concerns, because many of the politicians now in our traditional parties, let's say, are sort of locked into an old paradigm. I'd also invite you to look at the National Citizens Alliance it's a new federal party, and they're really let's say they're advocates for stopping 5G, for looking into smart meters and mandatory things. So the National Citizens Alliance is a party you may want to look into. And if there's certain things, again, in that post I mentioned about, Q technology for devices that help protect against radiation for your home, for your body, but know the information, share the information, have your voice out there, right, to your MP, to your family, to your schools, to your businesses, and make a difference. Let's rewrite history and rewrite it in the way that we want. We love. Let's rewrite it to the way we love. So if there's no questions, thank you, Rachel. No COVID in New Zealand, but we are being told we need to prepare for a second wave. Just ridiculous. Yeah, Rachel, thank you for that. The video I posted last night was about that second wave. So in some of the conversations I've had with both Rogers and TELUS, I find out that by the end of the year, they're hoping to have 5G rolled out, not just in the major centers, because it's in the major centers right now, but all across Canada. So if you haven't connected with your cellular company, I would encourage you to do that. So I just called, I put it on a Facebook Live so you can see the actual call I did. You can use that as a template if you want. And the one for Rogers is also on my YouTube channel. And the information on masks would be at my blog, healthtruth.blog, and it's called Mask Truths. So all the research that I've gathered, you can put it in there if you need to grab an article to send to somebody. But the second wave, right, because the second wave could be the radiation. The second wave is when the 5G technology is introduced. And we know that the radiation affects the coupling of hemoglobin in our lungs to oxygen. So it will produce breathlessness. It may produce symptoms that appear to be corona-like. And again, if they test you, you could test positive if you've had a cold or if you've had the flu shot. So the test is really foolish. I wouldn't recommend it, and the whole idea of masking is foolish. You need to be out in the sun, getting your vitamin D now, stimulating your immune system, because what happens in the fall, Dr. Zach Bush talked about that, what happens in the fall when the deciduous leaves, deciduous trees lose their leaves, is that there's not as much oxygen around. As the temperature goes down, there's a higher particulate matter in the air, so pollution hangs around longer. So every year we get like a viral detox, right? Or what they call flu season. And that's a natural process. It's a natural process in nature. It's a natural process in us. It's a natural detox. This year, they will try to make it appear as the second wave of corona, and may scare people into kind of getting the crazy vaccine and masking up themselves and their kids like they're fearful, right? Because masking is a sign of being fearful in the environment. You're looking at the environment as predatory. If you look at the environment as a loving place, right, it gives you energy, it gives you oxygen, the bacteria in the soil, right, it helps our body, helps balance our body. This is what Zach Bush, he has a whole product around Restore and Ion. It's the soil bacteria that we've killed with the chemicals we're putting back into our body. So when we look at the planet as a loving place, we embrace the viruses as a way of making our body stronger, as a way of making and helping the evolution of our species. But when we're looking at it as a fearful environment, we're anxious. It suppresses our immune system, increases our cortisol. We mask up. We stay inside our house. So changing our perspective really changes our whole, changes our action. I'm just doing a live video. No worries. No, that's fine. You might go around the other side of the house, lady, to fill the oil tank. Anyway, I should end soon. I don't think there's any questions. Thank you, David, Zara, Rachel. So I don't know. Thank you for that, Rachel, about the second wave. I don't know if there's anything else I've missed. I love having your feedback. So if there's questions, if there's comments, if there's something that I've said that's incorrect or something that I've said that you liked, I love that feedback because it helps sort of guide my purpose and makes me feel useful. So thank you for that. So healthtruth.blog has an article called Masked Truths. And it also has an article called The Second Wave where I discuss those things. So you may look at that on my YouTube channel. Some of the videos on my YouTube channel has been taken down. So I have a BitChute channel for the videos that YouTube doesn't like, and just trying to get that information out to you. But again, think love, speak love, be love, and then your destiny is love, right? Hugs instead of masks. Amoeba, embrace your partner. We won't call an opponent, right? Because that means it's a war. We're against each other. Embrace your partner, your dance partner, and educate, stay curious. Thank you, Rachel. So great to have your support on the same thoughts. Grateful for you too. So again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you, and know that I'll get back to your messages in time. But again, I think it's important, not only for me, but important for you to take that space, to pause and reflect, because our social medias can bring us into that kind of heavy emotion where we feel like we're on a treadmill and we can't get out. So the way to ground yourself is to be out in nature. Nature has a natural frequency. It's like a symphony of binaural beats. You know, we have waves and birds, and so being in nature helps ground you. The sun gives you your vitamin D that helps stimulate your immune system. Know that, liposomal C helps take care of any virus. Andrew Saul talks about that, S-A-U-L. You can look at him as a resource. So don't be scared, right? Be open, be loving, be out in nature. Pretend, you know, you're, I don't know, 100 years back when we didn't have these foolish media feeding us scare tactics and giving us, you know, corona case updates every hour. So turn off your television, go out, turn off your media even, and go out in nature and try to kind of brace and ground yourself and set your intention for what's going to happen. Because by December 21st, like I said, there's an astrological event that gives us an opportunity to rewrite our history. Be there. So I invite you to reach for the stars, envision and achieve your personal best. And most of all, enjoy the journey. This is Dr. Dina Churchill, signing out.